So obviously the news that Garb was ruled out for the season just dropped. Can you just tell us your immediate thoughts?
Yeah, it was on the cards the way he's pulled up and significant damage, and as much as he wants to, it's not worth the risk. No, he's too sore. So, and another week or two, then the rebuild to get him up and going would have been too long anyway. So, yeah, we'll put a line through it and put that to bed and move on.
And what's the plan now, just to get him to recover and get him?
Yeah, we've got a few guys. Unfortunately, it's creeping up pretty high. The guys are unavailable for the rest of the year. Normally, with a couple of weeks to go, those things happen. But just the season that we've had, unfortunately, we've got multiple players who have got season-ending injuries. But we'll get them to recover and prepare the best they can. So when we do finish the season, they're fully recovered. So it's not just get them right in October. We need to get them right now so we can train properly in the pre-season.
So he's still in discomfort. What sort of pain, I guess, levels of pain is he experiencing? Is there any long-term effects for Gub, or is it just simply just lay off and you'll be sweet?
I think it's just a layoff, yeah. But significant injury. He's actually had a similar type of injury a few years ago in 18. He did some damage internally as well. So, there's the ribs, and then there's everything around the ribs as well that just needs time. So I think he's going to make a full recovery. So there's no worries there. But it's just too quick to think about playing football.
You always look for silver linings. Is it a Rhett Bazzo sort of not locked in for the rest of the year, but is there more opportunities there for him to hopefully fast?
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah. We've given him a good look the last few weeks, and we still want to explore that. I think we've played everyone on our list, so they've all had opportunities. But giving someone a good block of games and taking form out of it is dangerous. But we do need to explore some of these younger players and see what they got.
In terms of exploring younger players, Jai Cully, 4 games down the waffle. Is he any chance to step out this week?
Yeah, he's a chance. Yeah, that's not a lock at all, but he's in the mix. He's been in the squad, so he's got a mature-sized body, and he's just still working out waffle football and AFL training, all those sort of things. But he'll get a look at some stage this year, whether it's this week or not. We'll train today, see how we go, and make a decision this afternoon.
What have you seen in the past month which sort of indicates to you that, yes, he will get an opportunity later this year, or he can take the next step?
We saw that before we picked him up. So he's 194 centimetres. He's an inside mid with really good skill. So just picking up the pace of the game's probably the thing that every kid goes through. So whether they're ready, some of these younger players or not, it's probably secondary at the moment. It's more opportunity, and then give them an opportunity, give them more than 1 week, hopefully. But whether that's this week or not, we'll make a call on that this afternoon.
And will Nick Nat play this week, or is he too sore?
I think he might be right. Yeah, we'll name him. We'll see how we go today. He won't do a lot today, but he's 50-50. Yeah, we're going to give him every chance.
How about Josh Kennedy? Does he travel?
Yeah, he's playing. Yep. So he's up for it. So MCG, JK, and he's put up pretty well from last week, so he's going to play.
With Shannon Noon, you mentioned that the time will come where you have that conversation with him. With the form that he's in, does that conversation come forward at all? Have you spoken to him yet about next year?
No, I haven't, and that'll be up to Shannon and I to work through at the end of the year and the club. But look, his form's great. On the weekend, he's our best player. So we'll sit down at the end of the year. There's still another 5 or 6 weeks to go. See how we finish the season off, and we'll have a good chat.
You've been on record with the North Melbourne stuff and being fully committed here, but with that job now available, have you felt the need to have the conversation with West Coast at all to underline that position again?
No, nothing's changed from my job hasn't changed. We've got a lot on our plate at the moment, so yeah, fully invested in what we're doing. I haven't spoken to North at all for a long time, so fully invested in what we're doing here, and there'll be a time when I get tapped on the shoulder, but at the moment I'm contracted and I'm up for the fight, so it's going to be a long road for us, and it'd be silly to look sideways at the moment.
Does North just know that you're not interested in leaving, that you're fully committed?
I don't know. I haven't spoken to them, so it's obviously they're working through what they've got to work through. We've got our own issues at the moment, so it's the last thing on my mind, honestly. There's so much to do here.
You're a great the North Melbourne footy club.
I wouldn't say great. I was there for a long time.
Captain it and won 2 premierships.
Yep.
Does it hurt seeing where the club is at? And is there any thought of the romantic side of what could I possibly do to help?
Oh, there's always that. I mean, you've got history at another club. There's definitely parts of you that's drawn to what they're going through. But, you know, I've been here for 9 years and I'm as invested as I've ever been. And we need leadership at the moment and we need to be really strong on what we're doing. So I just haven't entertained the thought. Yet they're obviously going through some issues at the moment. It's been there for a couple of years, but it's my life's not around that. I've got an eye on some mates that I know that are over there, but outside of that, no, I'm working through here.
And do you think Clarko would be a good fit then for them?
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm sure he's a good fit anywhere, except for West Coast. But no, that's up to the club and to North Melbourne and Alice to work through. That's not really part of my mindset.
You said the club hasn't contacted you, but have any, you know, as you say, there's plenty of former teammates, some of them work in the media as well. Has anyone spoken to you on behalf, sort of just mentioning, would you be interested, gauging any interest levels?
No.
Do you expect that to come at all?
I wouldn't have thought after today. There's no need. So, I mean, conversations are with mates are conversations, but nothing formal, nothing informal. It's all been above board and respectful.
So essentially, you're shutting the door on any.
I thought we shut it a while ago. Just because there's a change in the narrative at North doesn't change mine.
Not that you want to lose them, but any of your assistant coaches that you need endorse for the job?
Yeah, well, there's plenty out there. Yeah, and we've got a new coaching group. You know, and they've all got a fair bit of experience. So without isolating anyone, they'll all be in the mix. I would have thought we've got a pretty experienced group. So. Yeah, that happens. It's happened to us a number of times where assistant coaches have either gone for a senior job or left to go to other clubs for that pursuit. So that'll all start in the next few weeks, I'm sure.
Jamie Graham, a former coach here, now at Fremantle. His name has been thrown around as maybe a potential to go to North Melbourne. Do you think he's equipped for the role?
Yeah, I thought he was ready last year. Yeah, obviously he's moved on from us, so you'll have to talk to him about whether he'd like to put his hand up. But I think there's enough evidence there to suggest that he's capable of taking on a role, but that'll be up to whoever looks for him and if he wants to do it.
Adam, you mentioned a few players starting to creep up in terms of season over. Is there any more additions outside of Gov that you can update?
Yeah, young Joyce his season's over. There's a couple of others we're working through that I don't want to get in front of at the moment. I need to work through with the docs and what's happening. So, unfortunately, we've gone from getting some players back in the last 3 or 4 since the bye. You know, we had a lot of coaches filling in and Waffle Eagle players filling in at training, and over the bye break we had good numbers and we started to get some numbers back. But unfortunately, we've dropped off again a little bit with availability, and in particular, you know, Yo, McGovern, and these types of players have made Sheed have gone to a point now where it's getting tough for them to come back. So yeah, we might be dipping a little bit with availability, and you know, as the season goes, it's going to be more towards season over rather than coming back. So that's unfortunate. That's just been our season, unfortunately.
Is there an update on Tom Cole, if you think it's likely at all that he could?
Yeah, he's probably more unlikely to get back, and if he did, you know, he'd have to play a blocker game at Waffle. So the clock's ticking with him as well. But he's training and he's advancing well. But once again, at the very least, we get these guys fit for the off-season. That's probably the start we need to start with. And then if we can sneak in a game or two, some of these guys, that's great. But yeah, the season's closing.
How about Jamie Cripps? Do you expect him to travel and play?
I hope so. We'll have to see how he pulls up. You know, and we've gone through the experience that Brisbane are going through now with guys coming back from COVID, and what you need to do to get them available, and can you carry a couple of players? You know, what output do they give? And it's very individual based. So yeah, we think Jamie's in pretty good health, but we'll have to wait and see. I think he gets out on tomorrow or today, so he won't be here at the club, but yeah, we'll probably see him tomorrow morning, give him a bit of a test and see how we go.
What have you made of the Hawks under Sam Mitchell this year?
Yeah, well, they play an exciting brand. Yeah, they'll take you on. They're a young side as well, and I reckon they've gone through their fair share of injuries as well. So, but at the moment they look pretty healthy, and you know, it's amazing. They've got some healthy players back, and they're looking pretty good. They had a good win last week, played a pretty good brand. So, yeah, it's going to be a challenge, but we're looking forward to it. Getting back in the MCG for the second time in 2 or 3 weeks. Really good experience for our younger players, and hopefully we can put our best foot forward.
And in your review of the weekend, the first and last quarters, did you figure out just what?
The first quarter, we just got beaten in the contest. We got turned the ball over and gave away too many free kicks, and Carlton came ready to play, and we knew that was their real strength, a really honest side. But to respond like we did in the second and third quarter was really pleasing, really proud of that. And then the drop away in the last, probably a bit different than the first, and we couldn't get the ball back. So I think it's probably a sign of where we're at. Our small wins, our good quarters are looking pretty good, but our bad quarters are nowhere near acceptable. So we're going to close that gap, and if that's what we can do in the back half of the year, depending on our availability, that's a goal for us.
Condolences to the club and the Rioli family. Have you spoken to Willie, and how's he travelling?
Yeah, I spoke to Willie briefly. It come as a real shock for everyone, and our heart goes out to him and his family. He's heading back home, so he's back up in Darwin today, and we'll give him all the time he needs to look after his family and himself. So, yeah, tragic, really. So that's really sad for the club and for the family.
You obviously went up there with Willie as well. What are your sort of memories of that and going around and meeting the Rioli family and the wider Teely group?
Yeah, well, Willie's father was, is highly respected and regarded as a person and as a past player as well. And it's a completely different world. So they're a very tight-knit family on the island, and they're all connected in a way that we probably don't understand. So, there's been, unfortunately, a lot of deaths over the number of years up there that it's been too early for a lot of them. So they're hurting at the moment. The whole community's hurting, and we are too. How
is Willie's, well-being at the moment?
Look, just like all of us would be going through something like that. So, it's something now that him and his family need to work through. But we're here to support. But unfortunately, it's a fair way away.
Also just dropped Luke Stranatica, stepping away from the club. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, look, he's moved on. It wasn't the right timing for Luke. So, we obviously accept the situation he's in, and he's going to move on to the next phase of his life.
You did mention you're in that group of players that are trying to get back at the end of the year. Is there any change in his status?
Yowie? I think he'll get back next week or the week after. So we're still hopeful that hamstring was a minor one. But yeah, it's been disrupted for him, hasn't it? He came back, he looked so good down back, and we missed him last week. A bit of competitive instinct and security around the ball would have been handy in that first quarter. So yeah, hopefully he'll get back in the next couple of weeks.